Good evening, people who are gathered here, as well as people who are joined online. Institute of Naval Architects, as we know, are organizing generally every month a webinar online. Parallelly, we are also meeting in different places in India so that the local chapters are also revived. INA used to run local chapters very actively, and it was a good platform to connect between naval architects. And that connection is something that we are again reviving. As a part of that, we are all now in the campus of Kochi University of Science and Technology, which since 1975 admitted students in the first batch of naval architects came out in 1980. Since then, it is one of the few colleges which is offering a naval architecture degree. And at least in India, we know about Kochi University Naval Architecture. So we are in that historic campus, along with the students and very senior naval architects from various places. I see Captain Christie, Rajalakshmi ma'am, Anand Subramaniam sir, Kamera Varghese, and Anita Thomas ma'am. And we see very senior naval architects, Shaji sir, Anilda sir. So all the naval architects who have just joined here, welcome you all. Usually in such events, we also organize a session where we can exchange our views. And with the way the country is developing now, there's a lot of things which are happening in entrepreneurship. And but there are very few people who took the entrepreneurship challenge right from the start. And some of us have taken entrepreneurship, maybe slightly later. Very few people who took the entrepreneurship right from the start. One of them is, we all know, Mr. Mohanlal Pillai. Now he's the CEO of Mech Marine Engineers. He was, I think, the first batch here, Kochi University in 1980. So for all of us here, welcome, sir. We welcome the HOD of Ship Technology Department, Professor Mathi Adagan. So with all the faculty and the senior naval architects and the students who have joined here and the people who have joined online, now I welcome Mr. Mohanlal Pillai to talk about his entrepreneurial journey and give us probably us as well as the students here and students who have joined online and the online participants, what it means to be an entrepreneur. Please, sir.
Thank you. And good evening, everybody. I actually came here yesterday for the Silver Jubilee celebration of the 20th batch. Now being the president of the OSAS, I thought it is my duty bound to be here yesterday. And then Shaji called up and said, sir, since you're here, why don't you give a 20-minute talk on seeing what topic? I said, okay, entrepreneurship is the best thing which I can talk about. What I meant was that for the alumni here and the students, I didn't prepare a technical paper or a presentation or anything. It was generally an interactive this thing, primarily meant to junior people who aspire to be entrepreneurs in the future. So that was the idea. Now I am so overwhelmed with people like you are all sitting in front of me, from Subramaniam, Christie, all of you here. This has gone to a slightly different level. Somebody flying in from Mumbai of all places. So I am overwhelmed by the response. So as I told you, I was not planning for a very serious session. It was mostly an interactive session with my junior alumni members here. So now since I'm committed, you are all here, let me continue with that. Okay. My qualification for making a speech like this, because from the first batch and being the first entrepreneur from this department or from Kochi University in Shipbuilding, so I have a qualification in that. Other than that, I don't think I have too much of qualification in that. I'm actually an accidental entrepreneur. A lot of people believe that, contrary to the fact that I had that entrepreneurship spirit in me and all this thing, that's not correct. I'm a very impulsive person. So when a chance came up with Mazagon Dock, at that time, they were importing cotton nozzles from Norway, from Ulstein. And IRS surveyor and ABS surveyor together recommended my name to Mazagon Dock. You guys can't do it properly. Go and ask Mohanlal. So I was only 2 years and 2 months experience in Mumbai at that time. So I left a very promising career. Didn't ask anybody. My people came to know that I have left my job after 6 months. And those times there were no mobiles or anything. So I was saved from there. My dad called up the office after 6 months. They said, he has left the job long time back. That's how I started. And then it went on from there. It was struggle. Started making small dumb barges from equipment. Okay, from Kotnosis, I went to rudder stock, stern tube, stern rollers, stern, a lot of marine equipments. From Mazagon dock, it spread to Goa shipyard to a certain extent, then to Alcoa and most of the shipyards in India, except Garden Reach, I have supplied to almost everything. Then the next step was getting into a serious shipbuilding. So set up a small yard, started making dumb barges. So then transferring from dumb barges to a propelled vessel manufacture, it took us some effort. So I progressed to that. Then it's sheer luck that I started making the first double skin chemical tankers in India for one of those shipping companies, big shipping company, Mercator Lines. They started their ship ownership with the 5 barges which I made. So that's how. Then it went on for some time. And another thing is that, see, this is in my 45 years, out of that 2.5 years, I worked for somebody, then I have been on. I've seen 5 peaks and lows. And every peak, every time it happens, the quantum must increase. So you get into a bigger peak and such a big fall also. So one point of time, you have enough work, you refuse work. And there are points when you really don't have money to sustain, you feel. So every time I thought, okay, this is not the time to quit because you don't want to quit when you are low. Then suddenly it picks up. When you become that becomes a sort of a, what do you call, the issue. So I said, okay. So you keep on going. Then you don't realize that suddenly it has again gone. So I had gone through 5 serious ups and downs. And but it has been a very good journey. So I have a couple of things to tell people about being an entrepreneur. See, ours is a different line. You are, unlike any other this thing, you are dealing with your clients, you are 100 times or 1,000 times big. However, whatever you are doing, even you are doing shipbuilding or you are doing services, everything, your client is always much bigger. So you are always an underdog. So that is there. And second part is that, this being a very capital intensive industry, there are 2 parts of entrepreneurship. One is a practical shipbuilding, setting up a shipyard, which is very risky and very, very cost intensive. You can fall flat on your face so many times and in such a hard way that you won't be able to recover. But service industry, you can, it's a different ball game together, because if you feel it is going back, you can always curtail your operations, cut your losses. So that is one thing. So, so what I have to tell, the prospective, or I was actually, as I told you, I was planning, focusing it on my alumni, the younger generation. What it says, first, you have to analyze, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Okay. If it is only to make quick money, then this is not the right place. This is not the right industry. I always say, I would have continued with my father's sawmill. I would have been much richer and having a comfortable life here. And in naval architects, especially, even if you pursue a career, there also you are doing very well. You are not like run-of-the-mill other engineers or anything. That most of us, you see, we have Madhu Nair, we have 2 CEOs, the chairman and managing director of 2 major shipyards from our alumni, Madhu Nair and Captain Jagmohan, who recently took over. You go to any industry, all our people are all in high positions of power and influence, everything. So in a career also, you can get that. So you have to weigh that very clearly. Whether you have to continue, say, career naval architect and reach the heights, or you jump into this thing, there is an added advantage is that two things in being an entrepreneur. You are your own boss, then you derive maximum job satisfaction. I used to tell my people that when I have my friends coming there, we go to Gateway of India and show them that in one go, I can show that these 5 vessels are made by me. That gives a big ego boost. Plus, you get a lot of satisfaction when you actually design. Of course, in most of the cases, we have designed our own crafts. I have not taken or bought designs earlier because that itself is a big activity. So you derive a lot of pleasure out of that. You design, you construct, and when it is finally afloat and see that vessel operating, it gives quite a lot of job satisfaction. So in terms of job satisfaction, this is a very good entrepreneurship. But the pitfalls are, which now I will tell you, I'm not going to tell you what you should do. I'm going to tell you what you should not do in an entrepreneurship. I have made so many mistakes. One is you have to be very focused, especially in terms of cash flow. My biggest mistake was that as long as you are comfortable, you have money in the kitty, you don't go after your payments. Then one fine day you realize that is over. And then you start going after people. So you get into a problem. That is a major problem. And so anybody getting into this thing, you have to be very clear. Don't be shy asking for money. If you are doing a work, you have the right to get the work. Don't say that, oh, okay, I'm comfortable. I have money in the bank. So, okay, he is going to give. You don't try to, generally try to please your client because of future work. But that is a fallacy. I have done so many cases like that. I think, okay, you oblige him this time, next time the work will come. Next time also you go through the same procedure. You have to compete with the 10 others. Then you have to get the work. And another thing is that your strike rate in this industry is very low. You quote for, let us say 50 jobs, you get 5 jobs. And for every job it's not like normal thing. You put in a lot of effort. I'll tell you, I started in 83. There was no computer. I didn't have a personal computer. Nobody knew AutoCAD. So every time you make a GA, your draftsman writes it. The client says, okay, I need it 1 meter change. Then you go back and make a especially new drawing. So everything gets changed. There's no email. There's no this thing. Now the things have changed, but generally we go through that. So your strike rate is very, very low. You have to survive that. Then another major factor is that, as I told you, other than the cash flow and this strike rate of what you're going to get, is that you have to be very perseverant. The idea is that when you get a good job, you don't overjoy. And when you don't get into a problem, you don't get so desperate that you stop it there. That's what I've been telling you right from the beginning. Whenever I had hit a low, I decided that I will not quit now. I will quit when I'm on the top. But that is a human nature. When you're on top, you never quit. So again, you come back to the same situation. That's how things work. Then, so I told you about the cycles. That is going to be there. But now the current scenario is totally different. Earlier, we have been hearing about government support right from the beginning. In 2002, I delivered my first export order. I was really overjoyed. First order from Dubai to one of the major shipping companies as a crew boat. At that time, I was supposed to get 1 crore as subsidy. The number of visits I made to the ministry and trips to Delhi, till now, I have not seen the color of that money. So, but now I was talking to Madhu also last time when we had Golden Jubilee. Now things are changing. The government is really focused on at least delivering what they are promising now with the new funds coming in, the shipbuilding fund of 25,000 crores, which is, and the cluster shipyards is going to be a reality. And so there's a lot of incentives. And there's a lot of incentives, like if you look at the subsidy also, The current subsidy is 14%, which I have been talking to DG shipping people also. They said, sir, this time you are going to get it. You just deliver the vessel, make the proper documentation, you will get it. There's no problem. And that's a time-bound thing. You submit a report within 30 days, they are supposed to come back to you saying that this is right or wrong. Once it is accepted, within another 30 days, you are going to get the money. So that is something. So the current rate is for normal ships is around 14%. But the biggest opportunity now is green ships. Your subsidy goes from 20% to hybrid and to almost 30% to totally electric, which is a major incentive now. I have been working with some European owners and this thing because there is a huge demand. I mean, people are not coming for one vessel or two vessels. They're talking about 20 vessels, 30 vessels and this thing. It was that orders were so big. I brought them, my client, when they came to Mumbai, I took them to Mazagon Dock. I went to Cochin shipyard. Took them to Goa shipyard because those are things which a small shipyard like me cannot handle. So the amount of interest in, because most of the Rhine vessels and all the European vessels, you're talking about not very big vessels. You're talking about 2,500 to 4,000, 5,000 ton of vessels, which they have an incentive like any ship coming into the port, from the anchorage to the port till you leave the port, if it is working only on electric, they have a huge incentive in terms of port fees and things, which is very good. So everybody is really focused on that particular part. At least forget about totally electric or anything. At least from the anchorage to the port and till you go back to the anchorage, you need to work on electric. Then the other one was methanol and biofuel and things like that, which is again taking time because not many propulsion machinery are in place and there are a lot of challenges still to be sorted out. In European ports, what happens is bunkering of biofuel is not there in the ports. They are allowing it only for seagoing ships, not for the river crafts. So that's going to take some time. But that is a major opportunity for people who wants to become an entrepreneur now because there are a lot of incentives. There is that in terms of startup mission, we can get some funds. You can even develop your things. Government will assist you in getting prototype made and things like that. So this, whatever happened in the last 45 years of my lifespan as entrepreneur, that whole scenario has changed. I had actually stopped my shipyard in 2022 during COVID. I said, I don't want to take this financial burden so much. I'm concentrating more on Africa. I've been working in Africa, new projects. Did a good project there. Subru was part of it. He did the CFD analysis for that. There are a lot of people. Sony was involved. Girish was involved. There are a lot of people were involved in. So one project, so many people gets involved. Okay, and I being partisan towards Cochin shipyard guys, Cochin University guys, everything goes to them. Okay, this is not the right thing to say in an INA forum. But okay, so what I'm saying is that whole scenario has changed. I decided that I will only do advisory work and, do some project management. Now I'm seriously thinking back and started action again to go back to the same scene. I don't know how long it will stay, but I'm almost decided to go. So what I'm saying is, if you are going for being an entrepreneur, be sure why you are going for. As I told you, if you're going to be, idea is to make sudden quick money. No, there can be only one Sohan Roy, one in a million. Not everybody becomes billionaires. Okay, you become better. You are financially stable, everything, but don't expect too much. You are in a very difficult industry. So that should not be the criteria. You like to be your own boss? That's a good idea. You like to derive maximum, job satisfaction? That's a good idea. But then go with a plan. Go seriously with a plan. Don't just jump into it. There are opportunities coming up every day in this scenario now. So whenever you feel there is an opportunity which is exactly suiting your domain, because everybody is not well-versed in every aspect. So You jump into a particular field of your domain knowledge, or you are little more expert in that. Don't get into, because somebody else is doing something that, okay, I will also get into. That should not be the criteria. You should understand what is your potential, what is your strength, which domains is your strength. Go for that. Wait for that right opportunity to come in and grab it. Now, again, going back to the government incentives, this is very, very serious. About a couple of, last week I've been asked to join the governing body of this one international symposium going on in shipbuilding in February 2026 by the government of India, organized by the Mumbai Chamber of Commerce. Chairman of SCI, Captain Taggi, and the ex-chairman of BPT, an ex-IAS guy, plus Madhu Nair, Jagmohan, all those people are involved. They're going in a big way, and we are going to concentrate on that, along with the arrival of the Cyprus president. Cyprus is coming out with a big fund for shipbuilding and maritime related this thing. So we are zeroing on the date in which the Cyprus president is going to be there, because there's going to be some big announcement on along with that. So overall, everybody is acting on this. That's what I was telling Dostas also during our Nest Dims. It'll be so easy to get the topmost guys from the government, including the Secretary Shipping or even the minister himself, to attend to this, because there's a lot of emphasis on maritime. So with the shipyard clusters also coming, and they already started work on a big way. There's a major movement in Mumbai on KML is part of it. They are doing the DPR for the changeover of replacement of all the old ferries with electric boats. So which is going to change the whole scenario. We were talking about it for the last 15 years, but nothing actually came up. But now everybody is so serious that they're going to connect all the small areas within the Bombay Harbor region by electric boats. And of course, there are a couple of guys, here itself who have started these solar boats, become a big hit. Water Metro has become not a hit in Cochin, it has become a pan-India, this thing. You talk to anybody in North India, they're all talking about this boat, and everybody want to replicate that. So there's the one advantage what we have in this coast, on the west coast, is that people in the interiors, on the rivers, they are not so much of conversant with the boat building. So we have an opportunity to grab that market also. So you are talking about even this electric boats all over on a pan-India basis itself is in hundreds. So one is development of new technology for the hybrid or the electric propulsions, actually manufacturing the boats, then managing the boats. So it's a big opportunity opened up recently. So I think people with the right mindset who can take the plunge, this is the right time to become an entrepreneur. Okay, thank you. I was actually planning it to be a very interactive section. So unfortunately, the students are not there, but you can all, if you have anything, you can ask me.
Perhaps I was just wondering whether there are some few people in the online. Can I open the chat box and let's just see whether there anything in the chat as we are waiting.
So currently, I think we don't have any Q&A. Is my voice audible?
Yeah, your voice is audible.
Yeah.
I'm just reading that.
Yeah.
So yes, people have joined online. Around 35
Yeah.
participants have joined online.
Yeah.
From all over, perhaps India. Yeah, Mr. Kalgatti has appreciated your talk for sharing your experience. You just scroll down. Yeah. Perhaps we'll just open it over a Q&A session sort of next 10, 15 minutes. Anybody can start. So. If not, then I'll open up with a question then. Usually, I mean, this is, I worked in shipyards only for a very few years. Then I went into R&D. So after that, you read a lot. And so I'm just going to ask a very innocent question. Now, when it comes to costing, actually, everybody tells us the difference between cost and value. And value is what you can actually get from the client. Cost is something very easy. You just have your chain of supply, get all your costs right, and then at the end of the day, you add your expert of this thing as a value. That also depends on, as you correctly told, say 1 in 10 only is the thing we get. So it should be very, very, very correct in assessing the value. Otherwise, we don't get the tender. It's as simple as that. So how do you assess the value? Cost is straightforward, but how do you assess the value as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's a very pertinent question. Actually, what happened? Well, I had gone through that during my initial days when you are struggling. Okay, so you need to get work, and you rightly said you know the cost. You don't know what to quote and get the price, and then it actually depends on various factors. And sometimes, I mean, as I told you, I'm an accidental entrepreneur, so I got sucked into it. So then I had to survive. Okay. As I told you, when I changed from, I did quite a lot of dumb barges to start with. Then when I had to go for a propulsion vessel, there was a lot of resistance. You have not done a propelled vessel so far. You're good in chemical barges, dumb barges, but not propelled. At that time, when I quoted, there was a tax difference between Goa being a union territory was zero sale tax, and Maharashtra was 12%. Okay. So I quoted to a client. He told me very clearly, Mohanlal, your price is good, but in Goa, I'll get zero tax and yours is 12%. And I desperately wanted that. I knew I'll be making a cash loss. The worst scenario is I'll break even, or the worst scenario is I might make a hit. Okay. But that was the one decision which I had to make, because otherwise I will be stuck in the same road. So I took that decision. I gave him a 12% discount on that. In some cases, what you do is you grab the opportunity. We did quite a lot of specialized lube oil carriers. In fact, all the 4 lube oil carriers operating in Jebel Ali is built by me. I'm quite proud of that. One operated by Shell, one by Total, and 2 by Castrol. It all came by chance. As I told you, I mean, I've never in my life, I never had a marketing guy. So I am the marketing guy. I mean, everything came through word of mouth. And so it so happened. So when I made the 3rd one, and the 4th was by Shell, I had already, I realized from Shell that I'm the only one who has been qualified by Shell to make this. 6 months before, I still remember the price. I have signed the order with one party for Total at 1.6 million. 6 months later, this came. I knew that I'm the only guy qualified by Shell, and Shell is very strict on that. I quoted exactly 3.2 million and I got the money. So you get opportunity cost, but on, so you look at your client also do that. But in normal cases, and for me, I don't go into public sector tendering. I don't have the patience or the temperament to go after, because public sector, what happens is 90% of your effort is on servicing the client, not actually making the product. So I generally don't go for that. I made one huge mistake in going to DCI, and that was the end of the story. I ended up losing 20 crores. So, yeah. So that's one more point. You stick to your principles. I had kept that principle alive, not going for public sector throughout my life. Just before COVID, this happened, and it so happened that the chairman of DCI met me and said, Mohanlal, don't worry. I am there. No, I'm not like any other public sector. The moment he retired, his tenure was over. The new guy came and started all these things, and I lost this thing. I had to finally sell it to Adani. That was the first vessel which came to Vizhinjam port for the breakwater, because I made that split barge at that time. So you have to be very careful. You have to look at the client's potential, and because normally private sector, they are very price conscious. But like this, once in a while you get big clients where the money is not a issue. They need to be very sure that this guy is going to deliver. Like I was told by Reliance, some work. I quoted, I still remember, around 506 crores, and Mazagon Dock quoted 9 crores. The head of Marine, Shankaran, is a good friend of mine. Shankaran said, Mohanlal, I know you can make it. I have no problem. But the problem is Reliance, Mukesh Ambani doesn't know you. Anything can go wrong. If something goes wrong with Mazagon Dock, we are all safe. We gave it to Mazagon Dock. So there's nothing, anything can go. But if something goes wrong with your order, he will say, who asked you to save 4 crores? I didn't want to save the 4 crores. You should have gone to Mazagon Dock. So he advised me, you go to Mazagon Dock, tell them that you have got a 9 crores. Mine is only 5.5, 6 crores. I will add 1 more crore. You quote 7.5 crores. You make your money, I make my money. And I did that. We did a back-to-back contract with Mazagon Dock. Believe me, first time in the history of Mazagon Dock, on a public tender, they become L1 on a dredger, cutter section dredger for Himachal. We did the entire thing. I gave the pre-bid this thing. This is my cost. I will use your yard and make it. I will take the entire responsibility, including transporting it to Himachal, getting the honest approval certificate. I made money. Mazagon Dock made money. So there are, I mean, it all depends. So your strategy depends on what client and what particular situation you are in. I hope that answers.
Yeah. Amir, can you just open the Q&A box? I think there's one question from the audience side.
So it's on the
Yeah.
chat
Yeah.
itself. Like
That's a question.
Yeah. So from
Has
Mr. Siva
Contours changed
Balasubramanian.
for finance?
Unfortunately, that's a big no. That's what I said. You have to be very careful about your money part. Service is again okay, but when you go into construction, I'll tell you, on the DCA project, the contract value was both together around 29.8 crores. The bank guarantee charges I paid to that particular bank was 3.4 crores. For just giving a piece of paper, no overdraft or anything, just giving a piece of paper saying that. And then you keep 25% as margin money. Okay. You keep that, you paid 3.4 crores. I told the bank also, your entire branch is running on my money. Okay. But to get that 15 crores, this thing is very difficult. To get a 15 crores facility in a bank, even Nason today, you must have 15 crores worth of assets. So imagine nowadays the vessel cost 15 crores is nothing. You're talking about even a small tug. I'm just working on a tug which is 70-ton Ballarpur. We are talking about 50 crores. 4 vessels is 200 crores. If I had to service that, I need at least 100 crores of, BG and overdraft, LC facilities. If you have to have 100 crores assets to mortgage, I'd be sitting at home, having my afternoon beer and enjoying my life. Why should I have 100 crores in my kitty and then do business? So the banks are still the same. Absolutely bad. What their government is saying now with the shipbuilding fund, there is a lot of this thing. That's all talk, but I don't believe on that. There is no way. You must have deep pockets to get into serious shipbuilding as such. That's very clear. Banks are not relenting.
I think Mr. Alok Chatterjee wants to add some point. No? Can you add him in the panel? He can just ask anything. Or yeah.
Gas carriers, oil tankers, and all. Sir, government has a big plan to boost the indigenous, like Indian shipbuilding, like building gas carriers, tankers, and all. But the present tonnage we have altogether, including the private shipyards and public shipyards, what is your thoughts, sir? How we can improve it, like to meet the requirement?
I think
I don't believe in that. Anil Das knows, I'm recently associated with the Swan Group. Seriously thinking, it's one of the biggest yachts. My eyes popped out when I first saw that the thing. I've gone to so many international shipyards, including Chinese yacht. This is a big yacht, 750 acres. And they got a panel line, a fully automated panel line. They can make at least 200 tons of production of steel every day. The largest dry dock, 600 tons gantry crane, 300 ton production material, everything. Unfortunately, it went bankrupt. A new group was taken over. The current CEO, Rear Admiral Saxena, joined. So I have first meeting. So he was asking me about, we were looking at some small, I am associated with them as a partner. So any new construction, I give my estimates for conversion using their yard. The order comes in their name and then we do jointly, that sort of a thing. He said, no, Mohanlal, I'm not I'm looking at Aframax and big things. I have to justify. I said, sir, there are two things. One is, in my opinion, I may be wrong. Given the next 50 years or 100 years, we are not going to surpass China or Korea in terms of costing and the time. No way. I've seen how Chinese shipyards work and the facilities, how they manage, and the amount of support what they get from the government. It's like you setting up a shipyard in China is that you are given everything there, including power up to your gate, the roads up to your gate. What you actually invest is making your own, infrastructure. Till that, the government gives everything. And then they also keep an extra similar area next to you vacant. The only explanation I ask them is that tomorrow when you grow big, you don't have to go to another area. So I'm keeping another area ready for you. So next time when you expand, you just expand you remove your fencing and you expand it. That sort of support we are not going to get. So for me, I told him, sir, we have a niche market from European owners. They who don't like to go to China, they're not still comfortable with China. We are not looking at big ships. We are looking at small and medium crafts like patrol vessels, offshore supply vessels, small chemical tankers. Like I told you, this European river barges. That sort of thing is where we will be able to. Definitely we have quality. We are better than Chinese in any way. In terms of quality, I have gone to so many Chinese yards and we are definitely better. We have the right manpower here. We have the attitude to do that. And Europeans, to a certain extent, actually trust us to do that. Unfortunately, in the last 1 decade, so many shipyards folded up due to wrong business reasons. Competing with each other and pulling down the prices to unrealistic levels is one of the reasons why all the shipyards failed. So in the last decade, we had all the private sector shipyards failed, except, of course, examples are Kochi shipyard and Mazagon Dock doing because of the defense projects. Otherwise, commercially, it was not viable. So I don't think we going into the bigger this thing, LNG carrier is correct. We have 2% or 3% of the global tonnage. But I don't think that's the right idea. You must learn to stand up first before you start walking or running. So let us have our business climate ready. People get confident. That till today, I'm not confident. People get confident. Yes, when we do this, we get support from these areas, even the clients. I'll tell you one more example, why this banking system works. IWA came out with tenders for 4 cutter section dredges. As I told you, the one which I did it with Mazagon Dock. Mazagon Dock at that time quoted 6.5 crores. And I was the full subcontractor for that. I made money in that. Mazagon Dock made money. Similar tender came from IWA around 4 years back. The estimated cost was 20 crores each. I tried everything. I couldn't go beyond 12 crores because otherwise I'll be charging 200% profit. It so happened that I met Nitin Gadkari in the same flight. So he went through my brochure and sees the cutter section dredges. Hey, you make cutter section dredges. Are you coding for the IWA? I was actually on the flight to Delhi. I said, no, sir. He said, why? I said, the problem is your tender condition says that participants must have 5 years experience of making similar 3 vessels in the last 3 years or 5 years. I said, no shipyard in India makes dredges. So what we all do is we go to ISC or Daman or anybody. They give you the design package. They give you the equipment package. And I told him in Hindi, sir, what we make is coca. That means a box. Your value addition is 10%. 10%, I have to give a 100 crore solvency certificate. then your EMD. I said, I'm 100% sure, sir. I can do it at 50% of your estimated cost. But you have to remove all this thing. I'm not going to ask for, solvency certificate is one single letter given by the bank. And in small print is written, bank is nowhere responsible. This is only based on data which have been given. They charge 0.25% for that, just giving one letter. So you imagine 100 crores just to get that paper. So I said, it's not possible, sir. He called up the entire team. He called me to the office at 1 o'clock. I went there. He called me inside, immediately called his OSD, officer on special duty, and fired him. You guys are conniving with the foreign this thing. This man is here. He can do it and all this thing. You know what happened at the end of the day? The entire ministry went against me. They said, again said in Hindi, they said, "Tum minister ko khan bhara hai." I was such an innocent co-traveler with him. He just asked me a question. I said, I'm not interested in work. No, you go to IWA chairman. I'm fixing up a meeting with him. Sir, I said, I'm not interested. I have not come here for that. I came here for DSA work. But from that day onwards, the entire ministry was against me. So this is how the bureaucracy works. This is how the banking system works.
One important takeaway what you told is that as an industry, when we look, we should always decide whether it is it's sensible to go for the niche market, whether it is for the mass market, and you are advising that niche market has got a lot of opportunities. Yeah, better pricing.
There are so many players in the field, and like if you the smaller vessels, not very highly technical or anything, which we can make, or Chinese yards or even Vietnam and Batam, Indonesia makes, they definitely go low on the costing. So you don't stand much chance there. So and otherwise you would make a risk and work on a 2% or 3% of profit margin, which is not worth it. So you go to a niche market, and I've seen the clients, European clients are little more loyal to you. Give them a good delivery, they know that they will support you. I have done one of the world's second largest dipper dredger for a Netherlands company. Imagine a Netherlands company gave me a job. So I went and visited the yard. They had a beautiful yard. And exactly 4 o'clock, we all came out, closed the door, and then he was drugged me. So I said, why you have such a beautiful yard? You're closing it at 4 o'clock, and you are giving me a work sitting in India. He said, I cannot afford to have people in 2 shifts to give overtime. So that's why I'm coming to people like you. Same answer he gave. I don't want to go to China because I'll feel more comfortable in terms of traveling, in terms of quality, everything India is better. So that is, and then he's the only client, the international client, who gave me money without giving a bank guarantee. Once he signed the contract, he sent me 10%. Once he started working, he started sending me money. I had another client. I made 4 supply vessels for Saudi Aramco. Again, private entity. There's no problem. Even your stage payments, nobody goes into finer prints in the contract and says you are not fulfilled or anything. You become somewhere near that. You tell him, hey, I've done this much. Please release the money. They will release. So you have good clients abroad who trust you as long as you instill that confidence in them that you can deliver and you are not out to cheat them. So that's the way it works.
You've got from online, Mr. Shiva Balasubramaniam has raised his hand. So you can just comment, ask, or join the discussion.
Hi, Mohanlal. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. My question is, I'm just connecting a few things which you mentioned. One is you said Government of India's plan for shipbuilding cluster. Then you also mentioned about the attitude of the bankers. They are very risk averse, if I were to use the word. And now I see an opportunity for entrepreneurs in building a supply chain, because now this shipbuilding, as you know, in Korea and other places, it's all pre-outfitted units given out, and it's constructed, and the yard is precious. Both the dry dock and the building docks are very precious assets. So if you have to move to that scenario, obviously, if entrepreneurs have to step in as a supply chain, there has to be more capacity building in terms of bankers trying to understand it. Second thing is this industry, if you talk about even a mid-size, my guess is 50 to 70% of the cost will be equipment cost. And if you're to, your value addition is the rest of the 30-40%. So if an entrepreneur were to come into this new, now we are living in a days of startups where youngsters with a lot of adventurism are getting into it. How do you think this can be negotiated? Because we need to change this whole approach. Either the shipyards who are giving out work should support them, or the bankers should change their attitude to be more risk taking, um, or the industry as a whole, like INA, should do some advocacy work with them to make them understand what is the change which is required. So how do you think that this can be achieved? This is a big transition which is required.
Yes, sir. I was just having something in heart, and this was very closely associated. I'll also put a supplementary question connected to this. Because you told about niche and somewhere we are also talking about the supply chain here. If the supply chain is very near to you, then that much cost effective we are when we are servicing the clients. And particularly in things like electric ships, where the battery supply chain and all those things. Well-developed indigenous supply chain will immensely connect both from technical as well as from economic point of view. So this was, I was wondering, and probably his question also is on the same theme. So I thought I'll put this as supplementary so you can answer both of us together, sir. Then a couple of audience are there. We'll just take
I'll just answer to Balu what he said. Yes, this is in my mind. I mean, I actually slipped my mind in that particular thing. Yes, supply chain management is very important. See, what happens is that is where the big guys come into the picture. The government can't directly spoon feed you, but the industry giants like Cochin Shipyards, Mazagon Dock. I always give an example. Long time back in the early 70s, Mazagon Dock got a huge number of orders from Mozambique. They were known as the Mozambique barges. 5 shipyards started in Mumbai only for that. So Mazagon Dock was the primary contractor. They did mass purchase. They sublet the work to people. They started small shipyards. That's how NN Shipyard, Mangla Shipyard, Bharati Shipyard, and there was 1 or 2 more. They started with that. Similar thing, all these shipyards, because they have the potential. I know people like Mazagon Dock, they pay the salary from the money what they get as interest for what is lying in the banks. They have huge funds lying with them. If they start mentoring smaller shipyards and act as, they channelize the entire thing. A person, if I am, for example, negotiating with Caterpillar for 10 engines, I have certain amount of this thing because I'm a private sector. I know how to squeeze them. But as a bigger client like Kochi Shipyard negotiating with them, you get a better deal and they may not even ask for it. If I am placing an order on Caterpillar, they will ask me for at least 20%, 30% cash down. Then the balance on LC. So it adds to that. But a bigger yard who has got crores and crores worth of bank guarantee facilities, LC facility lying, and they get it because they're a big client, they get it at a much lower interest rate. They can do that. So in a way, see, for example, I'll tell you of Cochin Water Metro. Madhu may not like it, but I would have seen that should have been, Cochin should have been the nodal agency. Those are small boats, piddly boats. It should have been given to small entrepreneurs here. Help them to make the facility. Of course, aluminium construction need little better facility than normal shipbuilding. At least I would have told you, I mean, the estimated is, I was talking to Shaji, is around 120 vessels. 120 vessels, if 5 people have started this organization, making 20, 30 vessels, they would have changed the entire industry. I mean, we would have 5 more shipyards here. So I feel that the attitude of the big guys, the big brothers should change. They should take in under their umbrella the smaller guys and, support them. What Balu said is the right thing. This is what. And supply chain, everything comes beyond that. And there is no mentoring of the subcontractors also. As I told you, I became a subcontractor because that was a unique item which was being imported till then. So I could ask for a price and I used to get it. To be very frank, I used to make 100% profit at that time on equipments. But unfortunately, at that time, what happened is that I started making propellers. But you have 10 propeller orders in a year, you are not able to develop the facility. Now you have so many this thing, but we still lack real good equipment supplies here. Even now we buy equipments from abroad. Even people who have come and set up the yard facility here, for like couple of guys for propellers, they're all foreign names. They come and set up this thing. So there is no actual support for the vendors. You develop a vendor base, support them financially, make sure that you, unless you support them, nothing is going to happen. Because if I have to every time attend a tender, go for the L1, there'll be somebody else coming and this guy is doing it, let me quote 5% less and next time he will take it. He will also struggle. I will struggle once and by the time I learn, I lose a second order. So it's basically somebody has to believe in this ecosystem that you have big major players. They have to make an environment in such a way that the smaller guys or people who are interested in developing these sort of things are supported and they're assured of that they will be taken care. That's what I feel.
At least 3 in the audience have raised the hand. I'll just go one by one. Mr. Chat.
Thank you, Mr. Mohanlal. Actually, it was very, very encouraging to see such a good experience. I know you have to leave by 7. My question is continuation to what you said. One of the parts is like financing. You said that we have experienced when we were giving the order to various parties or making tender. The foreign funding agencies are the backbone of the industry when we go for a bigger financing. In that cases, what we have seen is that they have their certain procurement guidelines which has to be followed, which means the turnover criteria is almost 2 times the estimate. That is failing with all the only big shipyards can participate in that. That's something which government has to interfere and sort it out. My question is not that. My question is, I'm being part of one of the feasibility studies being carried out by the Ministry of Shipping. What we have seen is that a huge demand is coming in the small shipping industry, especially extension of water metro is being done, as you said it, about 20 different locations across India, which means in Mumbai itself estimated about 75 boats. Which means if you're talking about the other locations, it's going to be 500 to 1,000 boats are we expecting now before the government gets down in 4 years. How far we in India are capable of to attack this kind of a demand? Or do we need to go abroad or get somebody from abroad to meet this demand? So there are various, even I have attended many, even Maharashtra Maritime Board Chief Minister was having a session last week. I was attending to it. And they themselves are going for nearly 100 boats. How are we going to meet this demand? We talk so many things about it. Government subsidies, I think they are going to give, Maharashtra is going to give about 15% more in addition to the shipbuilding finance that is given by the government of India. So how do we keep up with this demand if it comes up?
I've been in touch with Maharashtra Maritime people. That's why I met you yesterday also. I am also working on that. The issue is, tomorrow Maharashtra Maritime Board comes up with a tender. They will say that this guy, for me, Mech Marine, would have done similar aluminum electric powered vessels of 5 vessels, at least 5 vessels in the last 3 years. Where will I go? Because Kochi shipyard is the only shipyard who has made it. And that is what I'm coming back again to that thing. Shipyards like, Kochi shipyard and big shipyards like that should be a big brother for small guys. If you look at this crowd itself, there will be 3-4 people who are ready to get into this. If they are assured of a contract, at least minimum 5 vessels, they will put in their money to a certain extent. You become a big brother, you procure the entire thing, give it to them, and make sure you ensure that you get. there will be no dearth of quality from any of these new entities. There's no dearth of capital also to a certain extent, not to 100%. So that's, again, I'm coming back to the same situation. Your tender will come asking me whether I have built an electric boat. Sorry, I have not built. I built specialized tankers, but I have not built a small aluminum boat. So where do I go? I don't get this order. So again, we'll come back to Kochi shipyard. So this is where you're talking about big numbers. So this is where I seriously feel that there should be serious talk on this. There should be the big shipyard should act like a big daddy and take in others, help them to get into this field.
Being Sir Commander Makka here, sir. So my question was regarding the green shipping area. Well, the previous two questions led me to this question actually. So if we break down, as you said, we are making Khoka in some areas. Finally, we are going to Siemens, ABB, Kongsberg, all the big guys for the main meat of the ship. So in your opinion, if we have to look at a true green transition of indigenization, the system components, sir mentioned that we are looking at somewhere upwards of 500 boats. If you look at Harit Nauka, the ferry part, GTTP, all these programs combined, it will go to 1,000 plus. If we multiply it with the number of motors that we need, say PM motors, the batteries and component level, the cells and the power control systems, it will be multiple thousands after that. And that is where a lot of import happens, and the batteries per se. While we say in the automobile industry, Mahindra made the built electric B6, the battery comes from BYD. So how can you identify some 3 or 5 areas wherein if you have to look at a true green transition at the component level, then what the nation can focus, which will be helpful for MSMEs to get into green shippings?
Yeah, that's true. You're talking about big, large numbers now. And this is, but when somebody is assured that those numbers are coming, and then there will be people definitely going to invest money in such things and develop things locally. As I told you, I used to be a equipment manufacturer. The market was so low, you make 10 propellers in a year, you don't feel confident on putting in money to make a facility. Now, the situation is when you're talking about such a large quantity of vessels, there will be people definitely getting. So only thing is what I still emphasize, that this qualification criteria of unrealistic qualification criteria on each procurement has to be stopped. I used to make equipments for Goa shipyard. But when it comes to, you have to give hundreds qualification documents to Goa shipyard to do that. The same when you get a foreign thing, there's no qualification criteria. The qualification, WOT, everything was coming only from Indian manufacturers. So there was so many things. So unless the whole mindset changes and people come out and say, hey, I'm going to have 300 units requirement of these equipment, people are definitely going to be there to pass it. Okay, you don't have the technology for like batteries and all, you go out. But there are a lot of systems. For example, even Cochin Shipyard uses a Siemens this thing. I'm sure it is a very high cost. But there are so many people in India I've been dealing with. Recently, I got for my Uganda project switchboard manufacturer from Waves in Kochi. I came to know that because earlier I was doing it from Mumbai. I came to know that they have given it for aircraft carrier, at least some of them. I went and visited the factory there, somewhere here in Ernakulam. And Chaco, but good guy, he gave me the good price, right quality. Everything was good. It was under Bureau Veritas with a European, the consultant was OSK Ship Design. We had stringent quality systems, everything works well. So we have the right people. We don't even know those people. I never knew Waves existed and Chaco is the guy who can deliver things. But I took the chance and we got it done. So All these sort of things. That's why I'm sitting with Shaji to understand these things better and trying to find out whether we can develop this. Not me as a naval actor, I cannot develop power systems and things like that. But overall, we can guide people, and there are specialized people for each and everything in this country. It's not that we have to be dependent. So we have the potential, but that's why we all have to work together to get this. So you cannot be standalone units, Every time I code for it, I become L1 and then you give me the work and I struggle. That's not going to happen. Somebody has to work together on this thing. So it's not 25,000 crores shipbuilding fund is not going to change anything unless we have a specific plan, how we are going to do it, how we are going to support the ancillary industries, and what are the qualification criteria and how we are going to support.
Just before that, I'll just add something more to what he told, because you're specifically talking about some technologies. When you talk about, say, let us take the two technologies that we are putting, battery and motors. Both, for example, there are companies in India, there are R&D efforts. They have been translated into a few platforms, a few products, including defense products, which have got the highest quality standards, including PMSM motor, what he was talking about. But if you see those industries, they are all very, very small industries who can probably take a certain quantity, and the technology is there, capacity building is not there. Now, probably 10, 20 years back, we were talking about the availability of technology. Now, at least in a few technologies, we can identify and go for capacity building because technology is available. What they lack is both investment as well as various other factors were hinted, which already you have hinted, so I don't want to add further. But it's not the availability of technology, it is the other factors which will help us to build the capacity. Indigenous technology is there. Yeah. Yeah. When you tell about 5 megawatt motor, this thing, I am aware that there are some programs which are already developing. They have developed up to 0.5 megawatt. Now they are scaling up on this thing. So as he has told, what assurance do we give to that person for a sustained market for at least 15 years? I'll not talk about more than 15 years, at least 15 years. Yeah, or 10 years or 5 years, whatever the industry can reasonably support. Now I've got Professor Anand Subramanian, then I've got somebody online also. We'll just take this.
Thank you. Mohanlal, I think we have known each other for 50 or 51 years now. So what I would like to compliment is that you have spoken from your heart. You have spoken about the passion with which this work. No, I didn't want it to be too close. There will be a lot of echo, Yeah. Can you all hear, I hope? Yeah. So what I'm saying is I compliment you for the passion with which you have gone into this career headlong, taken the ups and downs and still going strong. And of course, you are the young man. And you touched upon a very vital aspect, many vital aspects. What I want to re-emphasize is you talked of the support in China and contrasted it with the problems here. Now, I'm not a big shipbuilder like you, but I built my own yacht, a fiberglass yacht with vacuum infusion technology. Of course, it was smooth sailing in Chennai where I did it, brought it here. So I just want to touch upon and emphasize some of the problems that you have taken up. You talked of Cochin Shipyard should be a nodal agency and support small shipbuilders. Very correct, ideally. Even the state government here will endorse about it. But when you get to the brass tacks, because I have a small boatyard here, what I found is, the bureaucrats or the government officials or the quasi-government bodies are too deadly that you cannot do anything much. My recent experience was that the Coastal Regulation Zone Authority rejected my request for getting the license for my boatyard there, saying boat cannot be built in the CRZ. Just imagine the people with whom we are dealing. Where will I build a boat? In Idiki, somewhere in the hills? I mean, see, this is ridiculous. One second, I'm not complete.
The maritime shipbuilding industry is out of the purview of CRZ. You can build a CRZ under CRZ. You can make a slipway, you can make a jetty. That is outside the purview of CRZ. You cannot have a high building under the CRZ zone. Even in the shipyard, the main buildings has to be 500 meters away or something. But making a slipway or a jetty there is totally out of the thing. So people are, I warned you when you are bringing when he was bringing the boat, I've told you, you are going to face so many problems in getting it registered here.
I'm not talking of my local problem, but what I wanted to highlight is the way the quasi-government bodies, the regulatory bodies simply stand in the way. But why I'm trying to say is Cochin Shipyard might have the intention of promoting nodal agencies. I know my friend Samudra Shipyard suffering now because he has got 15 boats ready, but the so-called Kerala Inland Vessel Authority say, you please wait. We have not finalized our rules how to permit your boat. This is ridiculous. Why I'm saying this is any entrepreneur will be almost killed at the nascent stage. I just want to endorse that view because this is a wonderful platform.
Even Maharashtra Maritime Board and Kerala Maritime Authority. I mean, the first chairman was it is around 10 years before the thing. There's no checks and rules in place. They don't really know much about any of these things because till that time it was MMD and DG Shipping controlling, including inland vessels. So we used to go to MMD for harbor crafts and the seagoing crafts to DG Shipping. And of course, thanks to DT Joseph at that time, who changed the whole scenario and gave the drawing approval, everything, took it out of from MMD and gave it to class society. Otherwise, I spent half my time waiting in MMD corridors to get drawings. People who are looking at the drawings, they don't know anything about this. The marine engineers looking at the tonnage plan, you have to explain to them. You go with this 1:200 scale drawing and they will measure it with the 10 paisa scale and say your drawing is wrong. So that is all changed now. Now DG Shipping, everything is much better. But the state maritime authorities are in their infancy. They have not come up to that level. We hope that things will change.
Yeah. There is another thing. You were talking of the bank guarantee, the solvency certificate, maybe the indemnity bond, because I'm dealing with some of these defense-related organizations in certain projects. So these are also very crippling things which you have stated about. And we in India are talking of going from that 0.5% global shipbuilding to 20%, 30%, 40%. I appreciate lot the efforts of the central government in wanting to, go 10,000% higher. But can we have a change of mindset? Because I believe this body could possibly represent to the government. Can we have the changes at the grassroots level, in attitude level, as you said, This is only to make a remark. But all said and done, I compliment you, a fantastic lecture from the heart. Yeah.
Part of the next set of maritime seminar being organized on this thing, where everybody comes right from the minister, secretary, everybody comes and talks about government is giving this, 25,000 crores is there, maritime cluster is coming there. Nobody addresses or even asks, what am I going to do? You are giving me 1,000 crore job. I don't have the bank guarantee facilities for that. This bank guarantee, 2.75% is the bank guarantee charges. Plus you pay 25% debt investment in the bank. So where am I going to get that money? You get you ask Shaji, the German, the thing is 2% is the interest on their loan, 1.5. That is the own loan. But private sector is not allowed to do foreign lending. So we are stuck here. We pay 12 to 14% for our bank OD facilities. You pay 2.75% for the bank guarantee, which is a piece of paper. So where are you going to compete with the other countries? So in all these big maritime events and when this think tanks talk or discuss, these things should come up. These things will how come up when you are talking about, when you have a meeting of the chairman of the shipyard and the minister, secretary, nobody will come. These things will come up from people like me who have struggled. The small entrepreneurs, they will come up with, this is what I'm facing. You do something about that. Your 25,000 crore fund doesn't mean anything unless I can utilize it. If I had to utilize it, I must have banking facility, which nobody will give. MSME, they say that you are giving, collateral-free loan. I'm an MSME, registered MSME. I talk to them. Why are you? He says, sir, it's very easy for the government to give policy decision. Tomorrow you default, somebody is going to catch me. So I'm not going to take the chance. I said, it is there in a stated policy. He said, the policy is there, but I'm not going to risk my neck by giving you a non-collateral free loan. This is not, I'm not exaggerating. This is what happened. I talked to MSME heads. Public sector banks are asked to provide a certain amount of funds for MSME, collateral free. Not big amounts, but small, up to 3 crores or 5 crores or something. They are not ready to give. They said, they can say everything. So tomorrow you default, my neck is on the block, so I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to retire and I need my pension. This is the attitude. So that continues even now.
But you got something more to add, but paucity of time, I would rather go to the two audiences who raised the hand. Before that, Mr. Saravanan Lamalingam has a question. His question is, what are the opportunities in component manufacturing in shipbuilding?
That's a tremendous market. Actually, a tremendous market. Because till now, no serious or very organized set of people are there in the component manufacturing. Because as I told you earlier, the market was too low. So nobody invested that much into this. So we still depend on foreign companies, this thing. Foreign means anything out of, even we don't mind going and buying it from Dubai or Sri Lanka. As long as out of India, all your procedures get forgotten. As long, when you are here, you have to go through so many quality controls and documentation and everything. So that's again a mindset. Anything foreign is accepted. They are supposed to be good, no? And we have to prove ourselves every time. They did not prove because they are different.
It means me that most
Sir,
of the
special reference to
components,
hello.
we just insist on material traceability and all those things. But yes, there are loopholes. Mr. Saravanan, you can just add to your question, please.
Yeah, please, sir. Thank you. Sir, with a special reference to the government's Atmanirbhar scheme is for manufacturing make in India. So with reference to that in shipbuilding, what is the opportunities available for especially component manufacturing?
If I correctly understood your question, what you're asking is considering the Atmanirbhar policy of the government in a broader way, what is
Yes,
this
sir. Special
shipbuilding
reference to
things which are coming up? I think that is his question. Shipbuilding sectoral things in the overall context of Atmanirbhar, which the government is talking.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there is a focus on the Make in India policy where you get purchasing priority on indigenous suppliers. Then when you do product development here, which are being imported now, you are getting some sort of a financial support to do R&D and then make a prototype and things like that. So these are all stated policies, but it is yet to be implemented. The real, we will come to know in the next couple of years how it's going to work out.
Now I'm seeing Mr. Aniruddha Chattopadhyay raised his hand. Can you just, if it's the panel, can you just put the question or your comment?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Sir, I just wanted to know, I think you have set up a shipyard in Safale. Now, what made you go to Safale in the Vaitarna River and make a shipyard there? Because so in any shipbuilding project, the most important thing is how to launch it and put it in the water. So I was quite amazed when I saw your shipyard at Vaitarna River there. So what actually made you from coming all the way from Kochi University doing it and going to that place and putting up a shipyard?
Actually, again, there is a problem there. technically or legally, all waterfront areas throughout the country actually belongs to the government. Even if you have a plot of land next to the waterfront, the intertidal area is technically, legally known as the government property. Okay. So when I had my yard in Godbanda, everything, this was leased out to so many people years before. So there was no way you can buy things, land there. So I have been paying rent and moving from one place to another for so many years. Then finally, after scouting around, I still remember I bought a brand new Scorpio and I spent the whole purpose of going around every weekend, going around the countryside and trying to find a place. Then finally, I found a suitable place. Of course, I had to develop it, but I'll tell you a little bit story about that. I bought 35 acres and private land. We got it. I got around 2 kilometers road, which was underdeveloped, made it in a village. I got everything. I talked to the village local people. Everything was done properly. And now comes a question when I make the slip here that, as I told you, the land between my land and the waterfront, it belongs to the government. And you wouldn't believe me, I spent more than the cost of my 35 acres to get an 80-meter strip of land allotted to me. This is how things work. People
So
won't.
why I'm telling you, can you hear me, sir? Why I'm saying that, because I had made one of the naval caisson gates there, sir, in 2020 in the adjacent yard place. So I know the difficulties and which I faced to do that part. So it actually amazed me that the Mech Marine company came and made a yard there. I saw even your workshop there also. It was wonderful, sir, to make it there. I know the difficulty, but yes, these are the kind of challenges one has in shipbuilding today, sir. Actually, the ground reality problem. I've done in Konkan Barge also, made some ships and gates there. Launching it and taking it, as somebody bought a few times minutes back, it's the government regulatory or the local bodies or the local people. It's very difficult, sir, putting it in the water and taking it out of the channel, sir.
Yeah, that is good because at that time, as I told you, that was the boom time. I had 12 vessels on order. Out of that, 9 were for export. So I made, you wouldn't believe, I had a shipyard where I had 10 building berths. And I had a transfer system, rail transfer system with using one slip here, we could do that. But unfortunately, after that, from 2007, the whole petrodollar crisis happened and everything collapsed. That we are not recovered from that till now. Now is the time again, boom. So from 2007, you had to literally close down. There's nothing happened. It was a beautiful yard, 10 building berths. I don't think even Kochi shipyard can make 10 vessels at a time. I couldn't make. But that's what, you have peaks and you have lows.
So, Madhya.
So from the academic point of view, in fact, it was a great talk, sir, from your experience for the naval architecture and also related field, those who are assembling. In fact, from the academic point of view, I just want to make you understand that we have a vision policy. As per the department, we have vision and mission policy. So one of the mission is that to impart entrepreneurial skill in the minds of students. So what is your comments or what is your they say on how to build entrepreneurial skill in terms of students' activities here?
Yeah. No, actually, this I have been advocating for quite some time. That comes out of interaction with the industry. Academics cannot stand alone and, your duty is to give them degrees and go out and they'll do whatever they want. You must have close interaction with this thing. As in fact, one of the main objectives now we are charted out in those is also that we will have more interaction with the department in terms of this thing. I mean, similar talks like I came as to give a talk to my students actually to encourage them to be entrepreneurs and make them understand what are the pitfalls and what are the good things, what are the bad things about this thing. So most of the, department need not spend a single paisa on getting this interaction with this. There are so many people, our alumni alone, who can come and interact with on a monthly basis. There are so many people are retired and based in Cochin, like Dr. Ananda Subramanian is there. We have so many people, I see so many people who are into retirement life. They can always spend one day in a month and come and interact with people and do that. Anil Das keeps coming here quite often, so he can also come. There's so many people. So that's the only way you can get into that system. Yeah.
No, you're pressed for time, sir, but just a request on one last question.
Sorry, Mohanlal, I know you have to catch your flight. My first job was in Mason Docks, attached to the shipbuilding production, handling dry survey and water testing. Then later on, I matured to the design side. Captain Surveyor took me there. I've got quite a lot of serving naval officers, ex-naval officers. This is one question I asked Rear Admiral Bimal Kumar in an indirect way during our DIMS. Why Navy is so reluctant to adapt better changes? The typical example is, I had a chance to visit one of your Giri class vessels, which is under refit. I went there and I found that just for the lagging and lining, you still go for pin welding manual. You have guns. When you do one pin welding, you can at least do 50 of them. So why Navy is reluctant to do that? Is this the bureaucracy in adapting to the changes, or is it something? Can you address that, Mohanlal? Or any of the captains can do it?
Yeah, Alex, I have to catch a flight. So yeah, I mean, the same thing. The answer is the same. What I have been talking about is reluctance on the part of the people who are there. They're not too much bothered. They don't put their neck out to help or develop new things. Why should I bother as long as I'm happy, comfortable in my life? The idea should be to encourage people to do that, even if you are taking a little bit of, you're not taking too much of risk. You are in a comfortable zone in your own place. You can go out a little bit and try to be, minimize your risk, but at the same time, start doing something, Other than that, we will all rot in the same grooves. Nothing will improve. So people have to be, people in high places, people in have the power or influencing position should take the initiative and help this industry. Thank you. I'm really sorry because, as I told you, on a weak moment, I promised Shaji that I will give a 20-minute speech. I thought it was for the students. I can finish it at 6 o'clock. And I didn't even bother to give him a photograph. He said, I need a photograph. I said, no, what is the need? We are just coming here. So I didn't know it was an INA program and there'll be people like this. But sorry, because my flight was already booked. So thank you so much for bearing with me. I don't know, because I don't have the habit of making notes and doing all these things, So sometimes when I talk, after some time I lose the thread. Then I forget from where I have started. So, but I hope it was not too boring. Thank you.
Just one small thing. Now I invite President of INA, Dr. Manokurla, to felicitate you, sir. Just come at the right time. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. It was a great Saturday evening, and we have made a very good start at Cochin, or a restart at Cochin. Now, to conclude, it's basically my privilege to thank all who have enabled this. It started with a phone call to Jatish maybe a year back, but after that we were still dormant. But really for this event, I just talked to him probably 20 days back, and then I was given the confidence that this can be done. And so first thanks to Jatish, because he's enabled all those things. And the next thing is, I just called Roni and asked him, if a little bit of more things are required, like this thing, then Roni also put his hand and told, yes, some more support can be given. And the department with Madhya lead, this department also told, yes, we can host. So once these three things were fixed, the next thing became the speaker. Today's speaker, Mr. Mohanlal, was excellent. gave us a lot of food for thought, as well as all of us have witnessed, 45 years of experience means something. So we thank him. And Captain Christie, Professor Anantha Subramaniam, Mr. Vijit. Of course, I've thanked Madhiragan sir and Professor Satish Babu sir. All who yes told and yes handled. And now today was a pleasant surprise for me seeing Arun Varghese sir after a long time, and Devanand sir, Alex sir, and Captain Jay Shankar, Anita Thomas ma'am, Rajalakshmi ma'am, and all have come, and Shaji said. So all have physically come and made this very good occasion worth it. And SNAS secretary, he did two things. One is basically, of course, students are there online, so I know that. As well as yesterday evening only, I finally called him and asked, can you do this online because there are going to be people connected from the globe? Then he told, yes, sir, we have a system, no problem. I'll take care of it. So thank you. Thank you for both coming here as well as ensuring that the live streaming is happening all throughout. And behind us is the INA team. Already I've seen Rajneesh here, as well as Amir Ahmad, who is quietly, I mean, if he can switch on his video, he can switch on and show his face. Otherwise, yes, Amir Ahmad is there all. Yeah. And we have an office bearers, and then our Vice President, Admiral Bakshi. And then we have got our Secretary, Mr. H.P. Ramesh. So these are all the INA team, which is running with all these activities. Yeah. Yeah. Just now you saw Amir's face also there, who's ensuring that all these monthly lectures are possible. Perhaps, Jatish, have I forgotten anybody else? Because since you were in Kochi, you know whom all have to be thanked. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. And also the 35 people who have joined online. Thank you all and have a great evening. I mean, it's late. I just want to have a great evening. Thank you. And thank you for the Kochi chapter inauguration.